for removal of the handle lead as a safety feature, it will get put in. The CPUC has the authority to say these are the kind of safety things that go in, and they're the group that has that jurisdiction. So we will bring it up to them, and if they agree that that is a safety measure, they could impose that on us. If they don't, then we can approach the CEMEX plan on our own, or we could do that obviously in conjunction with the CPUC and talk to the plant about what it would take to get the plant to put in those type of gates.
And through the chair, who would then pay for that if we wanted that to go forward? Or does it depend whether it's mandated or not mandated?
If it's mandated in the CPUC, I believe that through the letter of understanding negotiations, it's an issue we take out with Caltrans. If it's not mandated by the CPUC, then it would have to be something that either the city does or the city convinces CEMEX to do, and through some cooperative agreement.
And do we have a rough idea of how much money or what order of magnitude of money we would be talking about?
To do that gate?
Yeah.
I have no idea. We haven't priced that option out yet.
You done?
But we will by tomorrow.
Ms. Kwan.
All right. Okay. Let me see if I understand this. There's some possibility we'll be sued by the neighbors over what? Can I just get an answer to that? I'm trying to understand.
The city attorney maybe can answer that. Ms. Kwan?
Yes.
I think maybe Ms. Parker can answer that.
Ms. Parker.
Likely nuisance.
What?
Nuisance.
It's not a
Nuisance
specific
claim.
issue? Like, it's just...
I mean, without seeing what actually happens there, that's when the general rubric would be nuisance. There may be other causes of action if there are other kinds of problems caused by the idling and so forth. It would be noise and
somebody mentioned that moving ahead, we found an EIR. It seems like EIR is the way to stop everything these days. Is there a responsibility of the city to do an EIR here?
the city has analyzed this, as I understand it.
The city's interpretation of CEQA is that the safety work that is contemplated right now under the draft CPUC recommendation is covered under 3 CEQA exemptions for existing structures because the track's existing, reconstruction, replacement, and installation of small structures because most of the safety components are small and would fit under that. So what staff's opinion is right now is that the work that's contemplated under this is exempt from further CEQA review under those 3 exemptions. So somebody could challenge that determination, and so if the council goes forward, we're recommending the council use that as the CEQA background, the CEQA determination for it, and obviously that is subject to challenge, as is all CEQA determinations.
Does this take into account, isn't this the major crossing where allegedly all the Oakland to 9th kids are going to cross over to go to school? Is this the same crossing?
No, not on Glasscock, no.
This is not the same Fifth Avenue crossing?
No. This is down Fruitvale and Glasscock.
It's farther down?
Yes.
Okay. All right. But it's also Fifth Avenue. Can I ask the gentleman from Caltrans? I have to say, I'm almost willing to vote with Mr. De La Fuente because what I seem to hear the city manager saying is basically play our way, we'll let thousands of people die on the freeway of 880, including all the people who are traveling because you're not doing what we want. And I can't believe that's what I'm hearing.
That's not my message.
So are you going to walk away here if we're going to ask you to give us some help because we think we're going to get sued because of your actions here?
Okay. Well, first, we've given quite a bit of help. We've agreed to fund all the California Public Utilities Commission recommendations, more than $1 million.
I know.
Okay. Caltrans agreed to fund all of that, even though the CPUC was very clear in its report about who should pay for what. We've also agreed to pay $1.3 million or 1.2 and a fraction for additional community enhancements around Glasscock. We've agreed to do that. We've been negotiating with the city for more than a year.
I know. We get frustrated by how slow the city is, too.
But it's not a night, but I'm not frustrated. So we've done a lot. Except at this point, we cannot except the indemnification clause. That's the only thing we're opposed to. We've agreed to everything else the city has asked us to do. We've agreed to pay upfront the cost of the cost of the improvements. We didn't want the city to express reservation about reimbursed work. We told them we'd pay you 70% upfront of the cost, so you don't have to come out of your pocket. But at this point, we just cannot agree to the indemnification clause. That's the only thing that we can't
So
agree to.
you like the last word? I mean, is there not some gray area where we could share possible future legal costs? I mean, I've been in public service for a long time, and we've had these kinds of issues before. It just seems, does it really have to be this black and white here at this point when we're so close?
Well, it's not black and white. We paid $2.3 million. We're asking the city just to meet us 90% of the way. We're meeting you 90% of the way. We're asking you just to come 10% and meet us. The exposure from the indemnification clause is much less than what we already agreed to pay you, which is $2.2 million worth of improvements.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm calling on myself. Okay. Now I got lost for a minute. So, I mean, part of, Mr. Delafonte, I know you're reading something I just handed you, but I also want you to hear me.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Make your comment.
So, you were really helpful for me when I was doing Caltrans. When I was doing Caldecott Tunnel with Caltrans. But the other thing you did from the dais every time Caldecott came up was jump all over me. And I can't do it the way you do it. But you really forced me
You
to
mean
make...
I was representing Caltrans?
No, you stuck by me, and therefore I'm trying to work with you here. But you also really pushed me to make a deal, which we ended up doing. And so I'm pushing you in a softer way to really use the creativities of making a deal. So the issue that I see, the thing that we're stuck in, is you're right in trying to get the access problem, the safety problem corrected, and not wanting to go forward until that's corrected. So there's two things coming up. There's a letter of understanding that's tonight, and then there's a cooperation agreement that is a second item that we have to pass before any of this happens. Is that correct? Before
we get any money.
But can they go forward without the cooperation agreement? They can bid, but can they?
They can go ahead without the cooperative agreement, and we don't get any money.
That's not what you said. No, that's not what you said before. There's two pieces. There's a letter of understanding. That's tonight.
Letter of understanding is step one of
and then they
the
have to do a cooperation agreement.
Right. The other piece.
I thought they need both pieces.
Be careful, Mr. Lenheim. You're right. There's a letter of understanding, and then there's the agreement.
So we could negotiate between the letter of understanding and the cooperation agreement. We could negotiate the public access issues. But are you saying that if we don't resolve the public access issues by the time we do the cooperative agreement, they can go forward? I'm not worrying. I'm not talking about the indemnity. I'm talking about the public access issues.
Well, we certainly have time to deal with the public access issues. There's not going to be any construction for some period of time.
But do we lose all our hammers because the cooperating agreement doesn't give us any hammer to deal with the public access issue?
Is the letter of understanding, you signed, that's the resolution that's in front of us tonight. Then it is then the agreement, forget the word. The cooperative agreement is supposed to come back to us, and that was supposed to,
Right.
the second step. right?
The cooperative agreement would have to come back to council.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So that's